Hey guys, it's me, Seren, back with another video. So today we are moving forward with our Hidden Figure series by featuring Florynce Flo Kennedy. So Flo was her nickname, her middle name was Ray. So Flo Kennedy, she was an American lawyer, activist, civil rights advocate, lecturer, and feminist. And Flo Kennedy has been known for really kind of championing and bringing into the mainstream the idea of intersectionality and the idea of using intersectionality as an approach to activism. So I'm going to jump right in and give you guys some information about her life. Florynce Kennedy was a lawyer, and she died in 2000 at the age of 84. So she was born in 1916, February 11th, 1916, and she died December 21st, 2000. Kennedy was born in Kansas City to an African-American family. Her father, Wiley Kennedy, was a Pullman porter and later had a taxi business. Florynce Kennedy was a lawyer and political activist whose flamboyant attire and sometimes outrageous comments drew attention to her fierce struggle for civil rights and feminism. Known to everyone as Flo and recognizable everywhere in her cowboy hat and pink sunglasses, she was one of the first Black women to graduate from Columbia Law School, where she was admitted after threatening a discrimination suit. She fought in the courts and on the streets for abortion rights, represented the Black Panthers, was a founding member of the National Women's Political Caucus, and led a mass urination by women protesting a lack of women's restrooms at Harvard. People magazine in 1974 called her the biggest, loudest, and indisputably the rudest mouth on the battleground where feminist activists and radical politics join in mostly common cause. Justice Emily Jane Goodman of the New York State Supreme Court said Miss Kennedy gave women courage. She showed a whole generation of us the right way to live our lives, Justice Goodman said, and friends like Gloria Steinem reveled in her sharp wit. Yet again, a Black woman who is really standing up as the blueprint of this really radical second wave feminism that has been erased from the history books because she's Black and race comes first, as white women keep showing us over and over and over and over and over again. Florynce Kennedy, the second of 5 daughters, was born on February 11, 1916 in Kansas City, Missouri. Her father was a Pullman porter and later owned a taxi business, and he once stood up with a shotgun to members of the Ku Klux Klan who wanted to drive him and his family from their home. In her autobiography, Color Me Flo, My Hard Life and Good Times, which of course there will be a link to in the description box, she said her parents almost never criticized their daughters. In fact, they could seemingly do almost no wrong. We were taught very early in the game that we didn't have to respect the teachers, and if they threatened to hit us, we could act as if they weren't anybody we had to pay attention to. She wrote, "Gosh, why have I not heard of this woman?" After graduating from high school, Miss Kennedy opened a hat shop in Kansas City with her sisters. Within a few years, she was involved in her first political protest, helping organize a boycott when the local Coca-Cola bottler refused to hire Black truck drivers. After the death of her mother, Zella, from cancer, Miss Kennedy and her sister Grace moved to New York. Ignoring those who urged her to become a teacher, she enrolled in pre-law courses at Columbia University. She applied to Columbia Law School but was refused admission and was told that the reason was not because she was Black, but because she was a woman. To that she answered, "To my friends at the NAACP, it all sounds the same." After threatening a lawsuit, Miss Kennedy was admitted to the school, and she was one of 8 women and the only Black person in her class. She graduated in 1951 and worked briefly for a Manhattan law firm before opening her own law office in 1954, and one of her cases involved representing the estates of the jazz greats Billie Holiday and Charlie Parker to recover money owed to them by record companies. She then turned to political activism, setting up an organization called the Media Workshop in 1966 to fight racism in journalism and advertising. I say, if you want to kill poverty, go to Wall Street and kick. Disrupt. This was someone saying this in the 60s, right? Increasingly, her legal cases were almost always political. "Sweetie," she said, "if you're not living on the edge, then you're taking up space." In 1966, she represented H. Rap Brown, the civil rights leader, and in 1968, she sued the Roman Catholic Church for what she viewed as interference with abortion. In 1969, she organized a group of feminist lawyers to challenge the constitutionality of New York State's abortion law, an action credited with helping influence the legislature to legalize abortion the next year. In 1969, she helped represent 21 Black Panthers on trial in Manhattan for conspiracy to commit bombings, among other things, and they were eventually acquitted. She also founded the Feminist Party in 1971, and its first act was to nominate Representative Shirley Chisholm, Democrat of New York, for president, which, fun fact, Shirley Chisholm was the first woman to run for president, not Hillary Clinton. In 1967, Miss Kennedy attended a rally against the Vietnam War in Montreal where Bobby Seale, the Black Panther, was not allowed to speak. "I went berserk," she wrote. "I took the platform and started yelling and hollering." An invitation for Miss Kennedy to speak in Washington followed, and a 20-year lecturing career was born. Several decades after the 1960s political upheavals, very few people recognized the name of the Black feminist lawyer and activist Florynce Flo Kennedy. However, during the late 60s and 70s, Kennedy was the country's most well-known Black feminist. When reporting on the emergence of the women's movement, the media covered her early membership in the National Organization for Women, NOW, her leadership of countless guerrilla theater protests, and her work as a lawyer helping to repeal New York's restrictive abortion laws. Indeed, Black feminist Jane Galvin Lewis and white feminist Gloria Steinem credit Kennedy with helping to educate a generation of young women about feminism in particular and radical political organizing. Yet Kennedy's activism is marginalized or completely erased from most histories of second-wave feminism. Those rare references to Kennedy usually highlight her as one of the few Black women in the women's movement, and she is a significant example of the exclusion of key Black feminist organizers from most feminist scholarship on the movement. The erasure of her critical role speaks to the ways in which feminist literature has failed to see Black women as progenitors of contemporary feminism. They erase us because white feminism is about white women first. Period. Let's read a little bit more. Kennedy used intersectionality as her approach to activism. Cherie Randolph, in her book Florynce Flo Kennedy, The Life of a Radical Black Feminist, which of course again will be in the description box, a link, quotes Flo as saying, "My main message is that we have a pathologically, institutionally racist, sexist, classist society. We need to analyze the pathology of oppression and learn a lot about how to deal with it." So everything to her was about intersection. Kennedy summed up her protest strategy as making white people nervous. Quotes on quotes on quotes on quotes on quotes on quotes. From now on, if somebody asks me what is my protest strategy, making white people nervous. Florynce Flo motherfucking Kennedy. There were a couple more quotes that I wanted to read you because this bitch was quotable. This bitch was motherfucking quotable. There was another quote that I wanted to read y'all. Oh, here it is. In her autobiography, she wrote, "I'm just a loud-mouthed, middle-aged colored lady with a few spine and 3 feet of intestines missing, and a lot of people think I'm crazy. Maybe you do too, but I never stop to wonder why I'm not like other people. The mystery to me is why more people aren't like me. Why aren't more people out here in this motherfucking struggle?" Florynce Flo Kennedy. I'm buying all the books. Someone suggested her. So thank you to whoever suggested her because I had never heard of her. So I'm buying every single book about this woman's life that I could find. So book review coming up on her life, most definitely. There will be tons and tons of links in the description box on Florynce Flo Kennedy. So please, please, please read them because she is a hidden figure that needs to be recognized. We all need to know this woman's name and say her name. Hidden figures. Like, I'm definitely, I think, going to keep this series going after Black History Month. Maybe I'll do it like once or twice a month. But it's just like so much knowledge and history that has literally been erased from Black women because we are both Black and women, and it's like we just don't belong anywhere. So I'm really, really glad that I'm doing this series to kind of boost up these women, like, because this is incredible. It's amazing, and we Black women are fucking amazing. Like, Black girls are motherfucking magic. So Hidden Figures, Florynce Flo Kennedy, links in the description box. read all the books, learn everything about this woman that you can, because she brought the idea of intersectionality to the mainstream. She fought for the Black Panthers. You know, she's the one that was like, listen, we live in this fucked up ass society that fucking, you know, it marginalizes us, and we have to like deal with these fucking intersections and like how that affects us. How does that affect me as a Black woman? And shit that we're still talking about in 2017. But these people will look you in your face and be like, there were no Black women in the movement. Man, bye. See you guys next time. Poop that as always. Peace.